welcome to another tutorial. This one's on brick walls, and the reason why I'm doing this is I need to figure out how to paint the brick walls that that we've done on Citadel Direwolfen and also the row house. I've never painted XPS foam in this fashion before. I've done XPS foam before a long time ago for No Quarter magazine. I did a bunker. It was the first time I ever did a bunker, or I should say pink foam. They asked me to do in that material, and I'd never done it before. I'd always done it in different material that I could replicate cement easier. Well, I was able to do things on that one that I'm not able to do on this tutorial or these bricks. So I need to figure it out. So I'm going to try a bunch of different things and see what works, and we'll talk about it after. So let's go. So I'm doing 2 test walls just to kind of get an idea of what I want to do on some larger projects. I painted this one a storm gray, which is just basically a dark gray, and I painted this one a raw sienna. Both bases were painted with burnt umbar. Now I'm going to come through and I'm going to do a known oil shade on this. I'm going to do a Agraxer shade on this, and I'm going to leave them standing up when I do the shade, because I need to see how it reacts, because the larger project I'm doing, I'm not going to be able to lay it flat. And just to confirm, this is pink foam and sculpted mold for just to hold it so it stands straight up and down. So a couple things I noticed, but I kind of anticipated, is my excess wash or shade gets sucked into the cracks because they're not perfectly sealed. So I lose a lot of my wash. So, which for the first wash, it's okay because I'm just kind of doing a coverage. But for any additional washes, I may not go down as far as the crack is concerned, because I'll lose a lot of my liquid. Or I might just mix my own wash, which might be even better because I do that a lot too. So we'll see. I'm gonna use Drucci Violet and go back and darken some things up, mostly on the bottom areas. I'm gonna come back with some camo shade. Now I'm gonna make sure I go along the entire bottom with this stuff, but elsewhere I'm probably just gonna spot it here and there. Not really have to worry about hitting it in all places. I'm gonna come back with the original gray and dry brush on this one, but I'm only gonna hit kind of the top area. So I'm gonna try something a little bit different. I'm gonna try to sponge the original color on there a little bit. See if maybe add some texture. I'll take some of it off of on my cloth like I would a dry brush. Not sure going back with the original color is worth it. So I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. All right, I wasn't paying attention and my battery crapped out. I went back with some Bridgestone gray and some mudstone, and I just kind of hit, like I hit a mudstone here and I hit a gray here and just kind of dry brushed more of the top a little bit, and I was really light-handed with it. I want to try something else. The whole point of this exercise is to experiment and see what works and what doesn't work. I've never really done this before. I've never tried to paint pink bricks before and try to make them look like stone. So that's the whole point of this, is to see what works. I think I'm getting onto something that I could do on a large scale and mass produce. But I still don't want to skimp on detail and also how it looks. So I'm going to try something black with black. Just go back just a little bit. I want to get as much paint off as possible. Okay, I'm gonna come back with Drucci Violet, and I'm gonna kind of dry brush. I'm not gonna treat it like a normal shade, like you would saturate something. I'm gonna treat it more like a dry brush, so to speak. Just kind of really not have a whole lot of paint on it when I'm doing this. Okay, there's some divots I kind of want to make a little bit more prominent. So I'm going to put some Drucci Violet in the divots. And if there's not divots, I'm going to kind of make some. Okay, I'm going to do the same with sepia. Okay, this is Beltan Green. Franklin Flush Shade. I'm gonna come back with the mudstone again. I'm gonna try kind of dry, not really dry brush, kind of dry brush. But I'm just gonna kind of stipple. I like this a little bit better than I do a sponge because I can kind of control it a little bit better. This is some gray. I can kind of already tell I kind of want to lean gray. Except I want to try one more thing with this one. This is what color is this? Oh, it's drizzle gray. It's just essentially a really light gray. I want to be really light-handed with this, hardly any paint on my brush. Let's start out with burnt umbar. I'm going to dry brush just on the bottom portions. Okay, this is raw sienna. Then I'm going to come back and kind of stipple a little bit. I'm gonna do a medium gray. This is just rain gray, but a medium gray. I'm gonna stipple with this as well. And I want to do this first because this is what the color that I don't mind if it gets covered up a little bit, kind of mute it out, but it'll show up here and there to give just another variation of color in the stonework or brickwork. I'm gonna go with maple sugar brown. Again, I'm gonna stipple. Now it's really close to the gray. I mean, it's really not that much of a difference, so I don't know if it's really worth it. I'm gonna do Morton Fang brown. It's a little bit darker. It's a different color palette than the rest of them. Yeah, there we go. That'll kind of mute the other brighter ones, kind of cover them up just a little bit. And come back with some Drucci Violet. And I'm not really gonna do a thick shade. I'm just gonna kind of treat it like a dry brush like I did before. Gonna come back with some Beltan green. Gonna come back with some sepia. I'm gonna come back with sandstone and dry brush, but I'm gonna be very light-handed with it. And I'm just barely hitting the top of each brick. So that's a wrap on that tutorial. I did learn some things on what I want to do, and I'm probably going to choose this one. But if you like the other one, let me know why you like the other one. Or if you like this one, let me know why you like this one. But a few things I learned. On this scale, I don't like using sponges. I have more control over a stippling brush or a stippling effect to create the dots and the randomness of it. There's a couple times I used colors that were too close together. I didn't like that either. And I lose a lot of wash because of the porous seams. So I'm probably going to make my own wash like I've done before with ceramic coat paints. And that way I don't care if I lose it. I'm not going to go through what... I'm going to find similar washes that I used in this. I'm not going to do what I did on this. It's too large of a scale. So I'll probably make my own when I do these. The other thing I learned is I'm going to go over... There's not enough texture on the wall for me. I left it on purpose that way because I want to see how it would apply, because that's how everything is. Now, when I did the big wall that has the wolves embedded into it, that has texture in it because I went back and beat it up with the rocks and things. But the wall that separates the castle and the river from the water source, or the big water, doesn't have a lot of texture. So we're going to go back in and do that. Apply with rocks and things like that. Also, when I was dry brushing and doing things like that, I would hit the top so the bottom is darker, and I like that effect. I've always liked that effect, just kind of force the shadows a little bit. I also went back and when I do the rocks, I'll have more to work with as far as creating, exaggerating some of the effects, so when you're at a distance you can see them easier. I'm not going to make them as exaggerated as I've done in the row house. I'm not going to have them that prominent, but they're going to be prominent to where you can see some of the nicks and things like that a little bit better. But I want more nicks there. I kind of had to fabricate a little bit here on these. What else did I learn? Well, I learned that I like this color for the large stuff. It's not that I don't like the brown. I like the brown, just not as much. Some of the details show up a little bit more, but I kind of got the idea. And when you go back and dry brush, just do it ever so lightly on the top. That's a real big key too. When you're doing stuff like this, multiple colors. Remember that Mother Nature works in layers. She doesn't go in one layer, and a lot of things are applied in layers. They tend to look better, and it's translucent. You have the translucent effect as well. Just like when they did Shrek, that's what they learned when they had to do Shrek. When they did the skin color, they actually, I think it was in their little mini documentary, but when they did the skin color, they actually made layers when they did CGI on it to have that effect. I don't know a lot about it. That's just layman. But when you paint things, miniatures and things like that, you work in layers and you have a better effect. So even though it's a large scale, I'm going to take the time to do it because I want this to be detailed. But I'm probably going to go with the gray. My boys want the gray as well. They like it better. Seems to be a little more sinister for what we're doing. So that's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, if you like the tutorial, share it, like it. Leave us a comment, continue the conversation. Really enjoy it. We'll do our best to answer your questions. But if you don't want to share it, I understand that. If you don't want to like it, I understand that as well. However, if you do find this useful, any tutorial I do, if you find it useful and you learn something from it, just do me this one favor. If you don't share it, like it, that's fine. But just do me this one favor. Teach somebody else what you learned. Expand the realm of hobby. Don't keep the information to yourself. Well, you can if you want. I would recommend not doing it. I did it for a long time, and I'm to the point now where I am sharing my secrets, or the secrets that I think I have. So that's all I ask. If you don't do anything else, just teach the people around you. Help them lift if they choose to, help them lift their hobby and have more fun out of it and be able to create things. That's all I ask, is that you just share anything that you may learn on this channel. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Just let me know what you think, and give me some feedback. I like feedback, and I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. And until next time, remember what my mother used to always say, that anyone can do art. Have a good night. Ciao. Cool fire. Southern Nights.
Did you say so, dude?
What?
Did you say
Southern Nights.
so, dude?